Thanks for staying with us. The Children's Home Society does a lot of good for children and families in our community, helping them move forward with their lives. To talk to us about the Society today is Frank Avilla with the Children's Home Society. Thanks for joining us, Frank. Good to have you here.
It's my pleasure to be here today.
This is National Runaway and Adoption, National Adoption Month and Runaway Prevention Month. Do I have that right?
Yes.
Okay, great. Well, good to have you in here.
It's a pleasure.
The Children's Home Society. Let's start out by talking a little bit. What is the Children's Home Society exactly?
Children's Home Society is a not-for-profit agency that has been around since 1902. It actually started as an adoption program in the Jacksonville area. That was the program that we were founded on back then. More than 100 years later, we've expanded to over 15 divisions across the entire state of Florida, doing a whole bunch of different things from adoption to case management to teen pregnancy prevention programs. Our division here on the Treasure Coast covers St. Lucie, Martin, Indian River, and Okeechobee counties, and we have about 8 to 10 distinct programs that work and serve the children and families across the 4-county area.
And where is your main office?
Our administrative office is located in the Vero Beach area, and we have 9 actual offices across the 4 counties.
That's quite a bit to keep up with. So let's talk about some of the things that you do. There's so many services that people rely on you for. But let's start off talking about National Adoption Month.
Yes, National Adoption Month is November. And in the month of November, we do things from trying to have large adoption finalizations for our children in the foster care system. We actually try to set different courts in the dates in the courtroom across the 4-county area, having large numbers of adoptions, trying to have celebrations in the courtroom. We also have proclamations in the different city and county government agencies declaring November as National Adoption Month. We actually also have a National Adoption Day celebration that we're going to hold on Saturday, November 22nd at Kiwanis Park in Stewart from 10 to 1, and that's a fun family-free event for all the families that we have worked with, as well as the general public. It is a picnic-style event where we have free food, free entertainment, face painting, balloons, all kinds of stuff, guest speakers. Sometimes we invite some of the families to come on up to the podium and share their stories, and it's just a real fun event to celebrate adoption as well as raise awareness of the additional need for adoptive homes in our community.
Great. And what's the date of that again?
That is going to be on Saturday, November 22nd from 10 to 1 at Kiwanis Park in Stewart.
In Stewart. We do have a Kiwanis Park in Port St. Lucie, but yours is in Stewart.
This was in Stewart, and it does serve the 4-county area.
Because it's for the whole area.
Yes,
Sounds
sir.
like just a fun celebration of the whole success of adoption.
It is. We're just sitting there, having all this stuff, for the kids, for the families, free giveaways, free drawings, arts and crafts, all kinds of stuff. The whole thing is free. And again, we do invite the general public to come and support us and to come on out and get a hot dog and some chips, some free entertainment. Bring the kids, bring the family. It's just we've had anywhere between 350 to 400 people join us, and we provide everything at no charge to anyone that wants to attend.
Yeah, great. Okay, so we also have now Runaway Prevention Awareness Month.
Yes,
What's
November actually also happens to be National Runaway Prevention Month, and basically what we do there is we try to promote the fact that, we obviously want to educate the children in the school systems about the dangers of running away, but also educate the community at large that teenagers running away can be and is a problem. And we want to try to educate the teens to know, hey, not everything, even at that age, is an emergency, is a catastrophe. However, if you were ever kicked out of home or if you've ever run away from home, there is an agency out there that can help. We have a local shelter called Wavecrest, which is located in St. Lucie County in Fort Pierce, that is a 12-bed emergency crisis facility, and we have a program called Safe Place. And if you've ever seen those yellow and black diamond-shaped signs that say Safe Place on different businesses across the 4-county area, we are able to provide an easy way for those children to get to our shelter safely. If you live 15, 20 miles away, if you go into a business with a safe place sign on it, that facility knows to contact Wavecrest. Wavecrest can then dispatch a staff or volunteer to pick up that child. It basically is a way to get them off the streets quickly and safely. Obviously, contact the parent, let them know that their child is safe and that they're okay. Would it be okay if they stay at Wavecrest while whichever crisis is going on at home can hopefully be lessened while we have the child at the shelter for 1 to 2 weeks, maybe providing them with individual, group, and family counseling, taking the child to and from school, and hopefully providing both the child and the family with some tools, some resources, referrals, whatever it takes out into the community, so that when that child is reunified back home with their mom and dad or the grandmother, whoever it is that they're living with, they have a better chance to remain out of the Department of Children and Families system or out of the Department of Juvenile Justice system, which is what we're trying to do with that program.
That sounds so comprehensive. You're looking for a solution. You're not just sending them back home, or you're not just sheltering them somewhere else. You're trying to provide resources and get to the heart of what's the problem in the first place.
Absolutely.
See if you can untie that knot a little bit and get the family to move forward.
You bet. I mean, you couldn't have explained it any better. It is very comprehensive. It's it's an A to Z kind of thing. It's not just like you said, okay, we've got you here for a few minutes, let's work on the child only. Sometimes the problem isn't just the child, it's not just the parent. You've got to get these people in the same room talking about it with basically, one of our shelter counselors can be there, or one of our staff people can be there, kind of trying to, what is the root of this issue? Is it just that the child doesn't want to follow the rules, or is it something deeper or deeper or deeper, or is there a potential for some, either abuse in the home, or is there a chance that that child may do something that's going to cause he or her to get, end up in the system by doing something wrong at home or something out there on the streets? Whether the child is, potentially involved in drugs, are they just skipping school? Is there a potential for gang involvement? What exactly is going on with the situation from both the child and the parent's perspective? Get all of that information to the best we can, and obviously try to refer those children or families out into the community for other resources that may be even more, detailed and more in tune with what it is that that family specifically needs. I mean, it might just be, hey, this child just spends a lot of time doing nothing after school. Well, a referral to the Boys and Girls Club, or getting them, involved in a mentoring program or something like that. But it could obviously be something more detailed and more, more necessary, just something more deep.
And you must see often some really sad stories where you can't work it out, or the kids keep making the wrong choice. They end up in the gang, the crime, the drugs, the prison, or worse, dead, or anything. You must
There are a variety, anything along the spectrum, and we are very fortunate to say that this program here, we call it CINS-FINS, which is an acronym for Children in Need of Service, Family in Need of Service. This statewide program that we are lucky enough to get funding through the Department of Children and Families, the Department of Juvenile Justice. We are able to see more than a 90 to 95% success rate of these children 6 months out, 9 months out, 12 months out, not ending up in the DCF system or the DJJ systems. But obviously, like you said, there can certainly be, sad stories as well. But we'll take a child back a second time or a third time. Or if maybe the child living in the shelter setting isn't appropriate, we also have an outreach program where we can send a counselor to work with that child and the family in their home as well, and work with them for, 1, 2, 3 months at a time, trying to work on whatever it is, again, that is the cause of those problems.
It's impressive that you keep trying, and then you do have your success stories. That's got to feel great.
Absolutely. It's always nice to see successes. We're fortunate enough to get local funding through our Children's Services Councils or our United Ways locally, and when we go in front of those folks to say defend our grant, a lot of times we bring in folks that have been successful, or families that have been successful through Wavecrest or through our CINS-FINS program, and it's great to hear that this family was so close to breaking apart or fracturing, and then to see this child or this family step up and say, if not for Wavecrest, if not for such and such a counselor coming into our lives at this point, I might not have made it, or I wouldn't have graduated to the next grade, or I would have joined a gang or something like that. There's not a dry eye in the room between the staff people that work for our agency, as well as the folks that are interested in possibly giving us some money through the, the different funders. So it really does make an impact on people when they hear some of those successes.
You mentioned a couple of important things there. I want you to mention some of your funding sources again, provided by...
Absolutely. The adoption program specifically, we're fortunate enough to be funded by the Children's Services Council of St. Lucie County, as
Excellent
well as...
organization.
You bet. I wouldn't be sitting here side by side with you today if not for Children's Services Council. We obviously get a big chunk of our funding through the Department of Children and Families. We get money from the Children's Services Council of Okeechobee County, as well as I get funding through the United Ways of Martin, Okeechobee, and and Indian River counties. The SINS Fins program and Wavecrest program gets funding through United Way of St. Lucie. They get money from the United Way of Okeechobee. They get funding from the United Way of Indian River, as well as they get funding, like I said, from the Department of Juvenile Justice. And there's just so many different funding sources. We can make up some of our funding deficits through fundraising and private donations, but without the funders and without us reaching and researching different types of grants, whether they be federal funding, state funding, etc., we wouldn't be able to provide the types of services and the comprehensive services that we are. So we're thankful for our local funders.
Absolutely. And our city appreciates as well those organizations for the funding that they provide. If somebody wants to know more, if they want to tap into some of your resources, how can they find out more?
A couple of different ways folks can reach out to us. They could obviously try to track us down online. We have a statewide website. As I mentioned, we're a statewide agency. The website is www.chsfl.org. I specifically, as we might have mentioned, I work for the adoption program, so if folks wanted to contact me about either the adoption program or the shelter, they could contact me at 772-429-2001, just knowing that if they contacted me specifically, I could then contact them and get them to Wavecrest and their information. I could forward them that info.
Sure, point them in the right direction.
You bet.
Your organization, excuse me, your organization does a lot of great work. Our community appreciates that, and we appreciate you taking some time to come in and talk to us about it.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you so much.
Great, good to have you. Frank Avilla with the Children's Home Society. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. And we'll be back after this quick message. Stay with us.